we are Team Daytar and will be showing our solution. We'll first show the implementation of our code. Firstly, we clean the dataset. We did so by combining articles from the same source into one data entry and converting all the text to lowercase for standardization. We also removed missing values and special characters, then added a column showing the source of the dataset. We combined the two datasets into one combined dataset. Next, we moved on to data processing. Firstly, we used predefined keyword classification to classify the crimes in the articles into two types, economic and non-economic. Next, we extracted the countries from the articles. We did this extraction using spaCy and filtering with PyCountry. To ensure maximum accuracy, we checked for the country's official names, common names, alpha names, and demonyms. We then found the countries in the dataset, extracted them, and added a new countries column to the combined dataset.
Moving on, we utilized linear SVC to predict crime types for articles previously classified as none. To achieve this, we first divided the dataset into two groups, a training set consisting of articles with defined crime types and a testing set where the crime types were labeled as none. To ensure a balanced model, we performed undersampling by identifying the least represented crime type. Then, we randomly selected an equal number of samples from each class to form a balanced dataset. This dataset was further split into training and test subsets, and the textual data was transformed into numerical features using TF-IDF vectorization. We then employed Grid Search CV to fine-tune the model and optimize its performance. After training, the model was used to predict the crime category for each previously undefined article. These predictions were then incorporated back into the original dataset. Next, we utilized Vader to analyze the sentiment in each article. Empty strings were assigned a neutral sentiment score to prevent misclassification. The compound score was used to determine the sentiments of the remaining articles based on the threshold shown.
After successfully classifying each of the articles into the different types and assigning a sentiment score to each of them, we can then analyze this data. Firstly, in this section, we did aggregation of the sentiment scores where we assign different weightages to the sentiment scores based on what countries are mentioned in the article. The highest weightage will be given to those articles that mention Singapore, followed by those countries in Southeast Asia, and the lowest weightage given to those that did not mention any of those countries. Next, we did normalization of the aggregated sentiment scores where the scores are now in the range of 0 to 1. This is to ensure fair comparison. In addition, we interpreted the normalized scores as the risk of each of those countries having a crime of the different crime types. Lastly, we ranked the countries using the sentiment scores to find out the top few countries that had the highest risk of having a crime that may affect Singapore. Lastly, in the last section, we demonstrated some examples on how the data we have obtained can be used. Some examples include choropleth map and bar charts using the sentiment scores. To visualize our data better, we have actually created a dashboard in Tableau which will be mentioned next. Also, our code allows the exporting of the data we have obtained into Excel, which can be seen in the appendix of our proposal.
After the data is processed and analyzed, it is then passed into Tableau where the visualizations and dashboards are created. So we created two dashboards, one to show an overview of the non-economic crime risk and relationship sentiment across countries, and the other to show the overview of the financial and economic crime risk and relationship sentiment. The dashboards are interactive, and this allows users to explore the visualizations dynamically and easily. The dashboard is then plugged into our application, where users can access not only the dashboard, but also look in depth and more specifically at the visualizations and insights on the crime risk ratings and relationship sentiments across countries. They can also get a more in-depth understanding of the overall risk score of a specific country, as well as the latest crime-related news on that country, accompanied with a corresponding article sentiment score. So that sums up our team solution demonstration, and thanks for watching.